This conference will now be recorded.
All right. It is 5:34, and we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. For our roll call, Roxanne Sorrell is present. Paula Boatwright is present. Billie Jean Kessler is here. Gail McClellan is here. Pamela Cass is here. Wendy Cambridge is here. So everyone is here, including HPO Rudinino. Item number 3 here is approving the agenda, which is fairly short because we'll be going into workshop. And I don't think that we need to rearrange anything, do we? All right. I have some announcements that I don't have in front of me. Let me look them up on the email here.
We need to make a motion on the agenda, or is it just?
Do we need to make?
No, nothing that to be changed.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so due to the workshop starting at 6, we're going to try to keep our comments short and stay on topic. And the other item was PEC has sent out some notices that power's going to be off in the city of Blanco from between 9 and 5 on Thursday, March 17th. There's a project taking place with transformers, and you were encouraged to get a hold of PEC if you have any questions. And to do that, you would press 5 to connect to the Canyon office. That's St. Patrick's Day too, isn't it?
From 5 to 9?
Mm-hmm. Or 9 to 5.
Oh, from 9 to 5.
In the morning?
Yeah, during the
All day long?
Okay.
last time they did it, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
It was like an hour or 2. All right, so I think we can move on to public comments. Did we have anybody signed up?
No.
No, all right. We will go ahead and go on to new business. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action on the following. Item number 1 is the swearing in of the new and reappointed Blanco Historic Preservation Commissioners. We wanted to do that at a city council meeting?
When she left, she may come back, or she might not come back.
Okay, who's she?
The mayor.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I think the mayor's on.
Okay.
Yeah, she's there. I'll see that.
Yeah, I think she is down there.
All right, so
We can skip.
we can come back to that. Item number 2, consideration of October 25th, 2021, December 13th, 2021, and January 31st, 2022 BHPC regular meeting minutes. We don't have the October 25th. I think that we did approve the December one back in January. And Wendy sent out the January 31st meetings, and I know that there were some minor edits to those, but we've got the newest version again.
Correct.
So,
I'll make a motion that we approve the January 31st minutes.
all right, we have a motion to approve those January 31st minutes. Is there a second or discussion?
I'll second it.
We have a second, and all in favor? So that passes unanimously, so we have approved the January 31st, 2022 meeting minutes. Item number 3.
Is your microphone on? I'm sorry.
It's green.
Oh, well, okay.
COA sign replacement, Honda Bank, dash TXN Bank. And our HPO sent out his COA a week or two ago. So we've had time to look at that. Or his HPO report, excuse me.
I've already won. Oh, yeah. So we all know the Honda Bank, correct, the corner. And I emailed everyone the COA with all the photos. There's a lot of them. I don't get them in color when they email them, so it's kind of hard to distinguish, but the budget sign did put the size of it, and it's exactly what's there right now. And then he put the name of the colors. The name of the colors typically, it's a commercial universal color. You can Google that and it'll come up. I thought of that, but when I asked, they said, yeah, you're doing it right. But I want to make sure not assume things, okay? It's almost the Blanco high school colors. There's a billboard when you drive in, then they put a full page ad. They're trying to really promote this. So it's the replacement identical with different names. So the certificate to change out the existing 2 Honda National Bank signs. They will construct and install 2 non-illuminated, with no lights, reverse channel letters, just like it is right now, made of aluminum of a durable material. That's very important. It's durable. 2 inches in depth. It's not a whole bunch. And they glue it individually installed and mounted to the block wall. And when I read that, I had to make sure that they do never go through a rock, a stone, or brick. Okay? So when y'all was still doing this 20 years and I'm not here anymore, y'all no longer should do it. Don't go through the stone. Okay, it's very important. They can go through the mortar, because if not, they'll ruin the rock and it can split. You don't want to damage the materials. You want to protect them. The total sign is 48 inches wide. I'm sorry, up 96 inches wide, 48 inches tall, and for a corner building, that's within the section 26.07.002. So based on the UDC Article 26 and the Blanco Design Guidelines of the City of Blanco, the Blanco Historic Preservation Commissions can approve this certificate of appropriateness for the replacement of the 2 signs based on the findings on facts 1 and 2, and if y'all got that, I have all the ordinances there. The anchored bolts are required to be embedded in mortar joints and not anchored to the rock, since it will damage the rock. That's my report.
Anybody have questions, discussion? All right, so first I think we need to approve the finding of fact in the HPO report. And then as soon as we do that, then we approve the sign. So, would anybody like to motion to approve the finding of fact?
I make the motion to approve the finding of facts report.
Motion to approve, is there a second? And, okay, and we have a second, so all in favor of approving the finding of fact in the HPO report? Do we have any dissent? Or
Yeah,
any dissent? Everybody said, okay, so that passes unanimously. So the next action would be to approve the sign replacement, given the HPO's finding of fact.
We just did the
Well, no, now we're approving the sign.
COA.
Yeah, we're approving the COA.
I make a motion to approve the COA.
All right, any motions to approve the COA?
I'll second.
All the seconds, all in favor? All right, passes unanimously. So from there, we can move on to old business. Item number 1, subject markers update. And that is Wendy's item.
I had more research is going on. I've talked with a number of local folks. I've talked with the high school. They want to get their students involved in researching the history, doing personal interviews with folks that are still around and or have been around. So that's ongoing. We're just waiting to hear back from the high school. And trying to get together with folks is difficult to get their story. So that is ongoing. Yeah, that's about all I can say.
All right. I don't think that we do need to take any action, or anybody have any questions or discussion?
What, when you contacted the high school, what classes are going to do that, to do the interview?
That was not defined, what classes. I'm sorry, I don't know the gal's name that we met with, but she's an activities director or project director. And she saw a number of opportunities within the school to do it, but she didn't define the class, but she has to talk to a lot of folks. What's her name, Amy? It could have been. I just apologize.
No, that's okay, I just think she's kind of probably in charge of that stuff.
And she grew up here.
Oh, no, it's not.
Not here, I think she grew up here.
Well, my daughter-in-law works up there. So I was going to, I'll ask her, you know, she's a SCLA teacher,
I will get a name for us, I'm gonna send it out.
and see if some of her students could get involved.
Yeah. It's going to be, I don't think they're gonna just focus in on certain classes, although they may. They just really want to get a nice wide range.
I got a story for you from Bob Johnson. It's not written up, but it's kind of a combination of 2 stories. And so do I just write it up and give it to you and sign his name to it?
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay.
I'm on the subject more.
Yeah, that's not for a subject matter, but.
Yeah, no.
I jumped the gun.
That's good. And the other part of that would be Billie Jean's part about the newspaper and collecting these stories from individuals. The last meeting, we discussed her getting a PO box and maybe a email for the city would provide us with an email address. So Billie Jean, take it from
Well, I'm gonna have a meeting with Libby Wednesday. We have had one previous, and she's willing to work with us on any of our historical projects, and she's looking forward to the May 1st event. And she has encouraged several different things, like starting small and make it an annual event for every year to kick off History Month. And however they do it on their chamber site, they would do the advertising and stuff, however that works. So we're going to meet again and go over that. And she suggested, I think it was Libby that suggested having something kind of like a Wild Woman Weekend, but make it for history and sell the tickets where we would rent like a van and then have like a lunch and take them around to historical sites in Blanco and possibly close by in the county because they're all tied together. And I was thinking if something like that could be done on May 7th, it could end at Twin Sisters as the final historic building. So we're looking into that as well. And then I had an interesting conversation. A man named Bill Harris called me from Pflugerville this week. And I met him when I worked at the Johnson City paper. He's 84 years old, and when he was younger, he worked for LBJ when he was in Washington. And he was wanting to know if he could work with us and possibly the chamber to do something historical on the line of historical storytelling. He's a storyteller. And he wanted to tie in Blanco's history and Johnson City's history because he loves both towns. but he wanted to do it, and it might fall into Wendy's category because he wanted to do it before May History Month. And he's a very interesting gentleman, but I'll check him out more. I have a meeting coming up with him. But he wants to do it like a story time, where people come and he tells stories about Black history.
That was neat.
And then the other thing is, we still got it, y'all have copies of my emails to the paper. And the first one was favorable. They wanted to work with us and stuff, but the last two, they have not responded. So we need to get that going so we can get stuff in the paper, so we can get moving on all these plans that we've got. And of course, then the mailbox and the email, do we get a approval from city council, or how does?
So they just gave me one on Friday and I have not even opened it up yet. So I bet we can get you one. I mean,
Okay.
I will get a hold
Okay,
of Lori. Lori sent me one and I wasn't
Okay.
expecting it, but.
okay. And so the key now is to get with the paper so that we can start putting stuff in there and making people aware. So that's,
Do you know what you need to do that? Do you have any idea of what might get you into, if they're not responding?
well, my suggestion is to write a letter to the editor and CC it to Scott, the owner, or contact Scott directly with a CC to the editor. Would be my suggestion.
You know, I work for the cemetery, and Candy Cargill is close to Scott or John or one of them, and she can get just about anything she wants. Do you know Candy very well?
Oh, yeah, I know Candy real well. Well, see, I think what the problem is, and it's probably me, that's why I'm asking somebody else to reach out. I used to work for the Blanco paper. Then they sent me over to manage the Johnson City paper, and I said, I don't know how to manage an office, that's not my thing, but Scott insisted. And I didn't know how to use Excel, so he just told me to do it old school, and so I did it his way. And in the meantime, another lady came in from Lano, and she wanted my position, and after about 3 months, she convinced Scott to fire me.
Oh.
Because I didn't know how to use Excel. So it wasn't my writing, it wasn't my, my photography. It was because I didn't know how to use Excel, but I told him I didn't know how to run an office in the first place. So that might be the holdup. Maybe somebody else needs to approach them instead of me.
Maybe, I mean, Ruby, you get things in the paper pretty regularly too, don't
We
you?
both into roles, because he's told me before that there's not enough advertising dollars. And if there's other historic preservation used like streetscapes, they won't combine them. It has to be one or the other. So the last one that went in, so it was important we published that, but I think May, you're doing this for May, the month of May?
Well, doing it for like a regular thing.
I think that should proceed on any articles I need to run.
Well, one of the things I tried to tempt them with was like the suggestion Wendy and I came up with was like put a photograph in the paper. And, like the old timer with the load of wood coming to Blanco, what does this picture have? And other men like him have in common with Blanco, see next week's paper for the answer, or 2 weeks down. That would draw more people in to buy the paper because they would be curious. I was trying to, draw them in that way too, kind of bait the hook.
Maybe we need to buy an ad out of our budget. I mean, if we pay for it.
That's what I was gonna say.
I don't know how much they cost, but we can look into that.
Okay.
And it'll get run, you know?
Good idea.
That's the answer.
So how do we go about doing that?
Simple. You should ask them what are their display rates for ads,
Yeah.
and then they give you the site per price.
Yeah, Susie over at the paper has all that information.
Y'all could walk in and they'll explain it, like if you're in business, same thing.
Are we on the markers?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
So this is already marked, are they due in March?
The markers are combined with Billie Jean collecting stories from folks, local.
Are they due in March? It's not a month.
What do you,
What do you mean, do?
what do you mean by due?
Because you had asked me about.
Oh, for the text. Yes, we are not at that stage.
Well, I talked, this is not on the agenda, but I talked to Retta about the Pittsburgh,
Yes,
uh,
yes.
and she was saying that Mr. Burkhart would have something by the end of the week for us to look at. So,
Right, but he also had contacted, in the first place, a year ago, the Historic Commission, Texas Historic Commission, there was a question about if there was enough over there to even have one, so I guess we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I'll bring it up in a minute. There's some rules that need to
We'd
be
love to
followed.
get an update for that.
Okay.
We'd love to get an update on it. Yes.
Or you and I can talk.
No, I'll bring it up in a minute. There's a lot of things that we're not doing, I say we, that should be done and it's not happening.
For that particular.
Everything, and it's just gonna pass us through.
okay.
We've gotta get a hold of stuff. We've gotta, if we're just talking,
Yeah,
and it's good, you gotta talk about this, but at some point, and then it goes on.
I think there's a deadline on when the
It's
market
tomorrow,
will end.
it's tomorrow.
Do you order a marker for that, or how does
Yeah,
that?
since the last meeting, since it wasn't on the agenda, was to had met, who was never in charge with Linda. Then Linda starts the paperwork, works with you guys. And then they grab a check, mail it by tomorrow. And I think there's another opening in about 2 or 3 months. It's on the link that I sent, Billy. There's a link and it's a few months, contact the county chairperson, and then it gives you a deadline. And then the first one is tomorrow. There might be another chance.
And that particular one, the Pittsburgh one, was the one we wanted to really get. So we need more information on that. Yes, Linda needs to be contacted,
Linda Howard?
Linda Howard. And that kind of starts the wheels turning on getting a Texas historical marker.
Yeah.
Wednesday, I'll go by the post office and get the mailbox.
So what is the next step for that marker? Will we talk about that in our workshop?
Well, since I tried to give folks the information that I back off. And I believe there's one more, maybe in May. Do you recall?
I think it's in March.
Is it March the first? Yeah.
Because last year when he went in the fall, he had to wait because the payment up at the first part of this year.
It sneaks up on us because we're off in December. And then there's inactivity. And by January, it's like cranking up the motor. And then February comes and goes in short, y'all are busy. And in March, it's due tomorrow, it happens every year.
So what would we have to have by tomorrow besides the article?
The interest that there's an application, the best thing to do is call the state and ask them, we're sorry, can we have an extension? We've done that before, no extension.
Do you have Bob Brinkman? Did you deal with Bob Brinkman?
Who?
Bob Brinkman?
No, I don't get involved.
There's a person to deal with it.
The reason, guys, why I don't get involved, I can't overstep in what y'all are doing and then
I'll
we'll.
talk to you tomorrow.
Well, at our last meeting, we did ask Gail if she would, and she said, love to get with Retta and find out more about the Pittsburgh marker, because that was just floating out there, and we didn't know what was happening with it. So now,
So he's gonna have what you wrote, Retta said by the end of this week.
perfect.
But if we could get an application in with money in tomorrow, then. Or.
And then we'll always ask for money right there and then. They just want that like letter of intent or commitment. And maybe they judge on it. It doesn't always mean you're gonna get your sign. That's another flip side. They turn more, you hear more no's than yes. But Blanco is underrepresented. There should be literally, top of my head, at least 20 markers in this citywide, at least 20 markers. And that's a good committee.
So you're more or less working on markers now.
Yes, we're starting to work on that.
I mean, the
Gail?
Gail is.
Yes.
I'm not working on anything except you and Mr. Bernhardt. Yes. But I'll be glad to call the state if you've got information.
Yeah,
that I
we'll
can
talk
do that
tomorrow.
for.
As long as it's two commissioners, 3 makes a quorum, not a quorum, but a public.
If I do it with red,
I
everybody.
know, we have one advisor.
So Gail is gonna see if we can get an extension and possibly apply for the Pittsburgh marker tomorrow. I don't think that we need to vote on anything for that, do we? All right,
What name do I put the mailbox in? Blank of Historic Commission?
like our Historic Preservation Commission. And then if you have to pay something for that, we'll be able to reimburse you at the next meeting.
Okay, I'll keep the receipt.
Okay, so we started discussing May National Historic Preservation Month. Are we still,
I'm
we covered everything?
I've covered it, yeah.
Okay. And so we're looking to buying at. Okay, and then item number 3 under old business, Retta Martin has a streetscapes update for us.
First of all, I want to make sure everybody knows where Creekscape came from. I sent everybody something recently. This Creekscape come from Cordelia Wilburn has become our advisor, and she went back and checked it from the very beginning, which started back in with the comprehensive master plan and back then, 2003. And so I want to make sure that all of y'all understand where Creekscape came from. Does everybody understand? Okay, do you know what this is?
Yes.
You do. Anybody else know what this is?
I can't see it.
Ruby's trying to see it too.
Awesome.
You know, when we did the comprehensive master plan, the first day that Chris Holcomb did it, he was with LCRA. He led that. LCRA did our comprehensive master plan along with PEC. And he said, Retta, I suggest that you get the historic commission to go to the city council, Marion City Council, and ask them to apply for Blanco to get the program of the visionary preservation plan in Blanco. The original town, pilot town was Castroville, and it was only awarded to 3 towns a year. And so that's what I did. I came to the historic commission. I was putting the comprehensive master plan together, all the meetings, all that. And so the city went to them and we applied for it. In 2004 was our first application. We were turned down because we did not have a strong enough preservation program. We needed to improve it. We needed to update our ordinance. We needed to become a COG. We needed to do so many things. So Penny Parkhill was over, she did put it together that year and we were turned down. I put it together next year, we were turned down. That's 2005. So all this time we were working on getting this commission and the whole town, historic preservation, the city, all everything. So in 2005, they turned us down, but they said we will award it to you in 2007. So in 2007, in February, we started 7 meetings. And it's an extension. When Chris told me that day, he said, Retta, I suggest this because it should walk alongside the comprehensive master plan and help make it work and work better. So it's really an extension of the comprehensive master plan. I looked at the index on our city website. It has a comprehensive master plan and all the categories in it, but it does not have this. It should be in the index too, because it has the same type goals that the comprehensive master plan did. And so y'all need to study this. It's online.
Can you tell us what that is?
It is a Blanco Historic Preservation Action Plan. It took 7 months just like it took a year of meetings with the comprehensive master plan, we had 7 more months then, in 2007, of meetings monthly with the citizens saying, what do you want? And so it's walking alongside the comprehensive master plan, and it's the extension, the streetscape, nice friendly skies, gateways, all that is in here. And it's the goals that we have here. And so that's what we're working on with streetscape now. In 2009, we had the city do a resolution to ask, to set up the streetscape committee, and we started the streetscape committee in 2009. We had 10, we did it from the resolution, and it's on file. It's been updated, and we had 10 committee people then. And at that time, that first year, we went looking for our master planner, and we through our subcommittees, came up with Nori Winter from Colorado at $47,000 for his plan. We worked on trying to say, raise the money. We did not raise that much money, so we got a conceptual plan approved in 2014. So now it got put on hold by Bruce Hill, our mayor, in 2017. It was put on hold. And we collected so much money, and so we still had $5,000, which Keep Blanco Beautiful put $5,000 into it. And we still had that. And so we have 5 people. Actually, when we resurrected in December of 2020, we had 5 committee members. And I asked for 7 because of our quorum problems, and we now have 7. And so we have, we start off on our fundraisers. We have people doing fundraising. We have Richard Stanford is doing fundraising like letters. We have a group of the property and business owners in the historic district that in 2005, when we first started this, came together with and said, we want to form this group because we want to know what's going on. We want to be a part of changes in the historic district. So we have them as fundraisers. We have grants, we have marketing, we have Brandon with the Redbud has put together marketing, and he's getting Trey and Callan as his committee for marketing. And then we had public information, and then we have just we went and we put an RFQ out, the city put an RFQ out last year. And we had 2 that replied to RFQ, and one is Main Street Architects, and the other is Civil City. Main Street Architects is selected by the Historic Commission, by the Streetscape Committee, and then the city supported our selection. Before we dealt directly, the committee dealt directly with the planners. We did everything, but once this happened, Kelly, our city administrator, took over and just started negotiating with Main Street. We were kind of left out, kind of in the dark about it for a while. So we have now, we've updated our management by agreement with the Keep Blanco Beautiful will be the fundraiser, and we'll handle the money. All the funds come to us because we're 501c3 and it's tax exempt. So we have a bank account on that. Monday, we hope to have our meeting. We have Sue-Ann Pemberton, who's Main Street. We have her. Letter of agreement is up for phase 1. We knew that we couldn't do it the whole town, the whole historic district at one time, so we're doing phases. First phase, and this is what she's walked and selected. We'll begin up here at all 300 and down to Town Creek, or as far as you can go from all 300 that way. And maybe to City Hall, and maybe to Inside Park. And the rock wall was one thing that was involved. And the money that we have collected, there was we had collected $679 for the rock wall funds for when we first, in 2018, and that's in this bank account too. We'd like to apply this to this first phase. And then we'll just be about $1,000 short on Monday, be able to sign our contract for fundraising. She's gonna be $15,000 for the first phase. And so at this point, the city matched us with 6,000 for our 6,000. We had 5,000 and another donor gave 1,000. So Kate Blanco Beautiful already has 6,000. The city matched us with 6,000 plus 1,000 for brochures and marketing and things like that. So at this point, we had 15,246.60. So that's that goes to marketing and everything. We're real close. So if we do use it on the rock wall, the night that I wasn't here to give a report, I was going to give it on the rock wall project that we started back in 2018. And because we were going to do brochures and we were going to do it all over town, so we can leave that in here and do that as part of it too. But that's what, where we are on Tuesday. Monday, we signed our MOA to, nothing has changed on it. We went through word for word from 2010, the same management agreement that Key Blanco signed, Key Blanco Beautiful signed with the city and Streetscape in 2010 is the same one that we have now. So we're okay on that. And we hope to end Monday when we have our meeting, we hope to say, go for it, and we sign her contract. And then she'll start her, putting her together her master plan for this part. Is in, if it's in hopefully, or it's supposed to be possible. Any questions? This has been going on since 2003 for me, 2004 for me when, Chris told me to get the city to get the vision and preservation program.
Thanks, Rhoda. Thank you. All right, at this point, we can bring up anything that we need to make sure is on our next agenda before we finish up this meeting. I think we've got some notes on what will need to be included. Anybody have suggestions or anything to add? Our next meeting should be at 6 o'clock next month.
Well, would you put the Pittsburgh, money on there somehow?
Mhm.
Is that?
Yeah, that'll end up under new business. All right, so if we are ready, we can go ahead and go into workshop.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn into the workshop. Do we have a second?
Awesome.
All right, we have a second, and all in favor of adjournment? All right. We will now adjourn at 6:12, and we will go into workshop.
At any of this point, if y'all have a question, I would try to answer it. Okay? If I look serious, I'm not serious.